Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like. Black Bag. I was looking forward to this movie when I saw the trailers last year. However, in January, I got a little concerned because Steven Soderbergh came out with a movie called Presence, which sucked. So I was wondering, oh my god, what's going to happen with Black Bag? Is this movie going to fall under the same trajectory? But I'm happy to report Black Bag was great. I loved it. It's also a tight run. It's an hour and 30 minutes. So it's not like a lot of these movies that run about 2 hours now. So if you're concerned about, am I wasting my time? No. Also, I think the tight run time forces the story to unravel sooner than later. So as the audience, you get a lot of details and you understand what's important. And it's actually pretty impressive. But okay, let me put it this way. If you're a fan of Steven Soderbergh's other films like the Ocean's trilogy, not Ocean 8, we don't count that here, okay? Or if you're a fan of the Logan Lucky film, which is also part of the Ocean's trilogy, I guess the quadrilogy, you're going to enjoy this film. It's basically Steven Soderbergh's same filmmaking ingredients, only instead of a heist film, it's a spy film. Black Bag, by the way, the title of the film, is kind of a term used in this UK spy agency. So when the people say Black Bag, it's kind of like a code for saying, don't ask me or I can't tell you. It's kind of like a spy term for basically pleading the fifth. If you're an American, you know what that means. So basically, I can't say anything and also I won't say anything. So that's kind of just a key term for keeping a secret to yourself amongst other spies. Anyways, Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett are this spy couple, kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Only in this film, they actually know that they're spies, whereas in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they're like a married couple that doesn't know that they're both spies. Anyways, another thing I really enjoyed about this film is the relationship between Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. And I think just in general, Steven Soderbergh is very pro-relationship. He's very good at telling stories of relationships of people who care about each other. You know, in a world where dating in today's age is such a nightmare because you can't trust anybody, and it seems like no one's really genuine with their feelings to each other in this nightmare of a modern dating, modern relationships. So it kind of gives me hope, you know. It's nice to see a storyteller prioritize loyalty in a relationship, a couple being faithful to each other, faithful to the point where they're willing to do very dangerous things for each other. And Michael Fassbender's character, what's really interesting is that, you know, he's all business. He's very serious, but you could tell his affection for his wife he kind of reminds me of Gomez and Morticia from the Addams Family. Like he's super in love with his wife. Before I continue, let's take a quick 10-second commercial break before we get into some details about the film without spoiling it. The Stars and Stripes Freedom Deck ships exclusively in the United States. Available on eBay and Etsy. Link in the description below. Okay, so in Black Bag, there's this situation with a weapon called Severus, like Severus Snape or something. This weapon is causing these intelligence agencies to panic because it's been sold on the black market by someone from the inside of their agency. So the whole film is basically them trying to figure out who is the rat that sold this weapon that could start a war between Europe and Russia. And Michael Fassbender's character receives a list of potential suspects who might have sold this weapon, and his wife is one of them. So now he's put in this position where has to hunt down who is responsible for this mess, and his wife being involved in it adds a layer of difficulty for him because obviously, like I said, he's like Gomez Adams, and he loves his wife more than he loves life itself. What I really like too about this film is, like I said, if you're a fan of Steven Soderbergh, you know the Oceans 11, 12, 13, or you know Logan Lucky, this film is very much in the style of storytelling that those films are in. So you kind of know how he has those reveals at the end of those films where it kind of unravels parts and details of the story you were just watching, but from an alternative view, or maybe certain information you didn't have before that then makes things clear when you get towards the climax. He does that in this film, but he does it in such a brand new way. And I really admire Steven Soderbergh for having the same formula for telling a story, but cooking it in a new way. So, for example, without spoiling the movie, Michael Fassbender's character arranges a dinner for his colleagues along with his wife. And this dinner is so tense. It's kind of like, imagine having dinner with spies. And in the back of your mind, you're always like, who can I trust at this dinner, really? You know, Edward Snowden gets a shout out at the table, a negative shout out. But anyways, Michael Fassbender has a little bit of a game prepared for the dinner party. And it causes so much drama at the party that then creates this conflict conflict and trust issues with all the characters at this dinner table that plays out throughout the entire film until they kind of return almost for like a second dinner date with each other. And then that's kind of where our climax happens, is the first dinner date sets up an even more hectic second dinner date. But anyways, that's pretty much a breakdown of the film. So I thought it was pretty good. I don't want to give you guys any more detail than that because I really think it's worth the watch in theaters. It was a good time. I think the audience, where in the theater I was in, at least, the audience had a good time. There was a lot of laughs we all shared together. It's just the jokes and the punchlines set up were landed perfectly. So it was a good time. It's like I normally go to the theaters by myself, so it's not like I'm usually there to talk to somebody about the film afterwards or beforehand. But it's fun when you kind of go to the theater alone and everyone is kind of enjoying it together. So whether you can go there, what I'm trying to say is that I love going to a theater where you know nobody, but the experience you share together is the same, like where you're all having a good time. But that's what I got from this one. So I recommend it. Go check it out. Support the channel. Buy the Stars and Stripes Freedom Deck. This is a one-of-a-kind design, only available in the USA. Available from La Casa Loca on eBay and Etsy. Follow us on Twitter @Ghettoplex_MP4, on Instagram @Ghettoplex.mp4, and subscribe to us on YouTube @Ghettoplex.